Of course, we're streaming right now, and I will let you know when the show starts. And we're going, right? Thumbs up? Good, perfect. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality, the truth about happiness. And I am your host, Rebecca Lynn Norrington. Now, I am a self proclaimed happiness specialist. What the heck does that mean? Thank you for asking. That means that in my life, everything, the only priority that I have is happiness. Now, definitions of happiness can vary from person to person, and I would like to share with you my definition. My definition is happiness is the same as this internal peace, this internal contentment. And regardless of whatever happens and regardless of whatever doesn't happen, I am going to be at peace. I'm going to be happy. Now, this change did not happen overnight, let me tell you, because I used to be, don't tell anyone, but I used to be on wheels. And even the wind changing, even the wind blowing would irritate me. Even I would have a temper, I would go up and down. I was very opinionated, I was very judgmental. And what I found in my life is that depending on the circumstances, depending on what happened, depending on what somebody said to me or how they said it to me, I was up, I was down, I was up, I was down. And I got to the point where honestly, I wanted to live, I wanted to feel another way. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be at peace all the time. Is that even possible? Great question. Possible. This is the truth about happiness. Think about a thermostat, in your home, and you set the temperature to a certain degree. In the summer, you might have it at 65. During the winter, you might have it at 70, 75. So think of yourself as this internal temperature gauge. And whatever your internal temperature gauge is set at, that is how you are going to respond. That is how you are going to react. That is how you are going to feel. So my internal temperature gauge is set to peace and contentment and happiness. So what happens is life throws you curveballs. I don't have control over what happens to me, but I definitely have control over how I feel about what happens to me, how I describe what happens to me, how I react, how I look at things. Is there something wrong or is there something right? And today I'm going to share with you two of the most important components to sustaining this peace, this contentment, this happiness. Main topics. Because again, with the last live streaming, I talked about having a foundation. And part of this foundation, part of the way that you feel that you can stay at this level of peace and contentment, you need to have a couple of things that you practice on a daily basis. Who wants to be happier? Who wants to feel better? Who wants to feel better about themselves and about their lives? Every time I ask somebody, do you want to be happier? Everybody raises their hand. They're, yes, of course I do. Who would say no? But this is the key. This is the key. Regardless of whether you want to feel happy or you want to feel more at peace or you want to feel more content, you have the responsibility to make that happen. You are responsible for developing new skills that you are going to practice in your daily life. Let me share with you a question somebody asked me. One of my students asked me just a couple of days ago, Rebecca, why is happiness so important? And I'm going to let you answer that question, and I'll wait for your answer. Hold on a second. Why is happiness so important? What do you think? Think about it for a second. You have all the money in the world. You're not happy. You have good health, but you're not happy. You're living in a mansion overlooking the Monterey Bay, but you're not happy. Happiness, this feeling of contentment, for me, and all this, it's the same. Let me just say this: happiness, peace, contentment, same. It's the same. All of this is the most important. Life is going to throw you a lot of curveballs. Life is going to give you a lot of things that are unexpected. And how you react and how you feel and how you choose, what you choose to focus on, depends on how happy or content you are. How important is happiness? I say it's number one. I say it is a priority. I say it is my only priority. So in every moment, whatever is happening, I'm choosing between causing more peace in my life or causing more drama. It's very simple. But let me share with you the two components that I said are cornerstone for this foundation, for this happiness that we're going to talk about. Excuse me. I want to ask you a question. I know it's going to sound, let me ask you a question. Who are you? Who are you? Well, if you're like most people, you will give yourself a title. I'm either a man or a woman, or nowadays, whatever gender you're feeling, which is this is 2016. So who are you? There's always some kind of a label attached. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a child, you're a teacher. There's always a label attached to a person, or actually to everything that you encounter. And so with that, I want to share that labels, all labels, not just some labels, all labels will subtract from your happiness and from your contentment when you use them, and when you notice them, and when you focus on them. Let me share a really, really personal story. Hope nobody's watching. Like a lot of us, there are challenges with our parents, okay? I had challenges with mother, I had challenges with father. And I just came to realize when I started practicing not using labels to describe or to put a judgment on what I was focusing on, what I really noticed is one of the big reasons, in fact, it was the most important reason, that I was having problems and challenges with my own mother was because I labeled her, you ready for this? I labeled her mother. Seems simple, seems logical, seems normal. But with that label of mother, I had expectations for how I wanted her to act. I had expectations for how I thought she should be, how I thought she should respond to me. Because let me say something. You're not going to want to hear this. But let me say something. All of your conflicts, all of your challenges with anybody else, right? Those other people, those people are the problem. Those people are the problem. All of your challenges always come back to you. It's never the other person. I know. I wanted to blame other people for why I was feeling the way I was feeling for years. Trust me, I get it. I wanted to hold on to that. Oh, blaming somebody else for how you feel? Of course we're supposed to do that. That's all that's out there. But let me say this. You can't. You cannot blame anybody else for how you're feeling. Why? Because it's your responsibility. You are the one with all the power. So let's get back to the labeling of the mother, because I want to share this with you. I wrote it down. So because I labeled her mother, I expected her, there you go, that's another word. So we're talking today about labels and expectations. I expected her to protect me. A mother is supposed to protect, correct? I expected her to encourage me with all of my ideas, with all of my endeavors, encourage me. I expected her not to criticize me. Why a mother criticizes a child? I expected her, and with that label of mother, I thought that she was or should be accepting. Also, with that label of mother, I thought that her love for me was going to continue, or she was going to show it and show it to me regardless of what I did. Well, of course, that didn't happen. And with every label and every concept of mother that I had about this woman, and she fell short with each protect me, no. Encourage me and support my ideas, sometimes. Criticize me, all the time. Someone who's accepting, never. Someone who would love me regardless of what I did and what I didn't do, no. Labels are an issue. Now, what are we going to do? How are we going to describe? How are we going to live our life without labels? Well, again, it depends. What are you prioritizing? Do you want to have more peace? Do you want to feel more content? Do you want to be happier? Then eliminating all labels from your life and from your conversation and from your vocabulary are necessary. Well, how do I describe what does that mean? Eliminate. Let me give you a perfect example, a real life example. Let me ask you another question. What if, you ready for this? I'm going to talk about a good day versus a bad day. See, if you're talking about I'm having a bad day, then that means that something happened to cause it, correct? Because if you're saying I'm having a bad day, that means things happened that created or that are giving you this feeling of having a bad day. So question, what if one day you lost your wallet? What if on that same day you received a bill in the mail for $2,000 and it's payable within 30 days? What if on that same day your dog or your cat got out and they're lost? What if on that same day you spilled coffee all over your nice white suit? What if on that same day you get hit by a car? Now that's a lot to happen in one day, I admit. But would you describe that day as a bad day? 99% of the population would say yes. And I'm here to share a different way, a different perspective of looking at that day and describing it in that way. First of all, if we're going to eliminate all labels, that means any label of description, negative, positive, good, bad, happy, sad, what life is, in reality, the truth about this life is it's all an experience. You did not come out of the womb labeling things good, bad, positive, negative. You did not come out of the womb labeling anything. So it's really something that you have to unlearn. It's a unlearning as opposed to a learning. So unlearning how you label is a very important skill, and it is a priority, and it is part of your foundation, and it is part of your contentment. It is part of your temperature gauge. Let me go back to the story about your bad day. 3 weeks ago, true story. 3 weeks ago, I was, if you've listened to my show or you know a little bit about me, you know that I teach fitness. And it was actually on the 17th of February. And I remember that day because it was a few days before my son's birthday. And I was walking out of the gym and it was raining. It's raining in California, one of those rare days. I had my umbrella in my left hand and I was rolling my gym bag in my right. So I was walking across the parking lot. I was actually in a parking lot and I was walking across the street to the parking lot. It was an enclosed parking lot. Now I'm in the parking lot, walking between the aisles. And all of a sudden, I'm right in the middle of an aisle, parked cars, everything's parked. And I look to my left and there is a car that's coming. And I see the car and it just keeps coming and coming and it starts to turn left. And the car starts to turn left into the aisle that I'm walking in. This is exactly what I did. I'm looking, I look up, I see the car, and I'm thinking, okay, this car has to slow down because I'm walking. Oh, by the way, I have to say it was 5:30 in the evening, bright. It was bright outside. It wasn't dark. I've got an umbrella, I've got a bag, I'm big as life. I'm walking in the parking lot and this car keeps coming and turns left into my aisle and I'm looking and I keep looking and now I'm disbelief because part of me is trusting that the car is going to stop and part of me is saying this car doesn't look like it's going to stop. It was a moment of confusion, I must admit. Finally, the car is coming and I come to the quick decision, excuse me, Orchid, and I come to the quick decision that the car is going to hit me. Now I start running because the car is coming square at me and I start running as quickly as I can. I'm a little jogging. And sure enough, the car hits me. The car hits me right on the side of the driver's side where the front headlights are. Hits me smack dab on the side, on my side, knocks me over. I fall on my hand. I fall on my right hand, my right hip, my right knee. And as I'm falling, I do what I always do in a panic. I start screaming as if that's going to stop the car from hitting me. And I am screaming and I'm screaming as I'm going down. Now my scream stops when I hit the ground. There's no more reason to scream anymore. As if the scream was going to stop the car from hitting me. Actually, I thought it would. It did not. I'm on the ground. It's raining. I'm shook up. My hand is starting to swell. It's so much pain. My hand is in a lot of pain. My knee's in pain. My hip's in pain. And the woman gets out of the car. Of course, she's beside herself. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I have to admit, I was traumatized. I was in shock. I was in a state of disbelief. I started crying a little bit just because it was very traumatic, if you could imagine. How many of you out there has been hit by a car walking in a parking lot? Exactly. And I remember telling her, because she was very concerned, and I remember telling her, because she kept saying, "Are you okay? What do you need me to do?" And I said, please just stop talking. I needed to regroup. I needed to breathe. I needed to wrap my head around what just happened. And I have to say that a lot of things went through my mind. Number one, why didn't you stop? She was obviously looking the other way, or obviously distracted, or obviously texting. She had children in the car. She had sister-in-law in the car. She wasn't paying attention. I mean, I was bright. Come on, you can't miss me. And all of this was going in my mind, and she actually walked me to my car, and she got my bag, and I exchanged. I was so in shock, I didn't even know what to do. I said, I need your driver's license, and I couldn't even hold my phone to type in her information on the notes. My hand was in so much pain, and this is my right hand. I am right-handed. So she typed in her name or information on the driver's license and all that. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, she's really nice. She was a nice lady. She didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident, of course. Let me fast forward, because this is about happiness, but I really want to share this point. When I was sitting in the car and thinking about what am I going to do next, bottom line is I had to put ice. I went to the police. I filed a report. I went to the emergency. The line was too long. The next day I went and I got got x-rays done. No broken bones, no broken hip, no broken knees. Just very, very badly bruised, very badly bruised. And that evening, I was thinking about what happened. And I was taking a lot of deep breaths. And then I started smiling. I know, sounds a little crazy, but that's what happens when you practice wanting and prioritizing this peace, this contentment, this happiness. That's what happens when you practice the skill, because I went right back into it was an experience. For whatever reason, the universe wanted me to get hit by a car on February the 17th and still live to talk about it, thank you, and get hit by a car. And that same evening was able to not only smile, but to have a little fun with it. You ready? Here we go. That night, I actually did a home video. That night, I was sitting there thinking, okay, Rebecca, you're a happiness specialist. Can you imagine, with all of the reality TV today, can you imagine if there was a camera on my face as I realized that this car was not going to stop? Can you imagine how big my eyes got and how high my eyebrows raised up to my head and how loud I was screaming? And then I'm scurrying and scampering away like I can run faster than a car, hold on a second, with an umbrella and a bag in the rain with a video camera on my face. That had to be funny. Hold on. Here I go. Now I'm thinking headlines. New York Times, LA Times. What else is a big TV? What else is a big? Washington Post, New York Post. Happiness specialist gets hit by a car. That's funny. That's funny. And the only reason why it's funny, and the only reason why I could feel that way that same evening. Now listen, I wasn't laughing when I got hit. I wasn't laughing when I was on the ground, I'm going to admit. And I wasn't laughing as my hand got more swollen and more painful. However, that same evening, I did manage a chuckle. I did manage to smile. And the next day in my class, The Importance of Happiness and the Truth About Happiness, I was able to share this story, the same story that I'm sharing with you, with humor, with light, with a perspective that, what am I focusing on? See, focus and a perspective is your choice. So what do you choose to focus on? Do I choose to focus on being grateful that I wasn't under that car? Do I choose to focus on I'm still able to speak and able to share the message? Do I focus on, is this really that serious? Come on. Happiness specialist gets hit by a car? That's some funny. It's funny. When you prioritize and you choose to prioritize happiness, your perspectives will be you will be able to choose which perspective in any moment, regardless of what happens to you. Life is going to happen, my dear audience. Life is going to happen. Tons of things are going to happen. And if you're fortunate enough to get older, trust me, and you're over a certain age, and you can't see anymore and read anymore without glasses, trust me, life is going to happen. How you react to life, how you choose to focus on this life. Now, let me share something else with you, which is really, really important. I chose not to tell anybody about getting hit by a car for a while, and I'll tell you why. How many times, I'm just going to talk about myself. I remember how many times I used to run and rush to people with bad news, with news that was upsetting, with news that could take somebody for a loop. And I knew, this is just so clear, that if I told anyone quickly that I got hit by a car, all of a sudden it's that people, especially people that cared about me, well, hopefully people that care about me, would have a reaction and they would be upset. And so what I did a week and a half later, I talked to my only son and I said, I have something to tell you. Actually, this is it. I didn't even tell him that. He was sharing with me what was going on in his life, and I said, oh, I had an incident happen to me that I'll never forget. And he says, Mom, what was it? And I said, before I tell you this story, I want to let you know that I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm physically fine. Everything will be okay. I got hit by a car. Huh? So my point is this. Do I have a point? My point is this. Be very mindful of what kind of news and what kind of stories you share with people that you say you care about. I was in the elevator the other day and they were talking about the news and just the most horrific stories. I'm not going to share stories like that. And so, yeah, get hit by a car, but I'll tell you, got hit by a car. Wasn't that a fun, interesting? No, forget that. Fun, interesting. Wasn't that an experience? Now I have something to share. Now I have something to talk about. Now I have something to share with you how just by the fact getting hit by a car cannot make me feel, cannot affect my peace and or contentment. And you too, when you practice. Let me say something else. I thought that was a pretty interesting story. I said something earlier about labels and expectations. I talked about that earlier too in the first live streaming. Expectations, when you expect people or circumstances to turn out a certain way or people to act a certain way, you will be disappointed 99.9% of the time. So with that, my dear audience, is a practice of eliminating labels and eliminating expectations. And when you do, eliminate labels and expectations, you will feel not only lighter in your life, but you will be happier. Some of the things that I practice on a daily basis that add to and are able to bring me to a point of even more peace and more contentment in my own life is this. And I'm going to read them because there's quite a lot. Not a lot, but just things that I don't want to forget. One of the things that I guarantee, because I know I was, is staying out of other people's business. What does that mean? That means not noticing, not commenting, not talking about what anybody else is doing. I know it's an epidemic. It's a virus. It's a cancer. People love to look at other people and talk about and point the finger and what are they doing and looking at what's wrong with them or what are they doing and why are they doing it. It is, the word is epidemic. If you want to be happier, trust me, stay out of other people's business, including your parents, including your children, especially if they're adult children. If they're minors, that's a totally different subject. But if they're adult children, stay out of their business. Do not focus on anybody else. Only focus on that person in the mirror. Never blame anybody else or the circumstances for how you're feeling. Again, back to the car. Yes, shock. Yes, trauma. Okay, hit by a car. Yes. But feeling bad about it, feeling forlorn about it, feeling like blaming and just staying in that place of why me or feeling victimized by it, that's a choice. Life is here. Every moment is here for you to learn, to experience, to find what lessons, how can I grow? How can I grow from this experience? I'm telling you, let me say something. 5 years ago, if I got hit by a car, trust me, I wouldn't be laughing about it. I wouldn't be telling a story about it. I would be doing something else. Maybe 3 years ago, 10 years ago for sure, 20 years ago. So be patient with your growth. Be patient with your evolution. Be patient with your change. And when you do prioritize happiness and when you do really want to feel more peace, throw that intention out. Ask, how? How can I experience more peace? How can I experience more contentment? How can I be happier in my own life? And you will find that you will get in your life examples, circumstances that will answer that question. Again, 5 years ago, hit by a car, trust me, I would not be talking about it with a smile on my face. A smile on my face. No. So know that it is an evolution. We already talked about eliminate all expectations. Oh, I have to share this. One of the big issues that I had when I was growing up and looking for this happiness is always looking out and comparing yourself to other people, or comparing yourself to what other people have that you don't have, or just maybe their lot in life or their title or where they are. Oprah comes to mind for me. Comparing yourself with anyone else, whether it's a sibling, whether it's a coworker, whether it's somebody that you don't even know, is a surefire way to subtract from your own happiness. So it's a practice of, listen, do you compare the stars in the sky? Do you look out and say, well, that star sure does look nicer than the other one, or that's shining brighter than that other star? No, the comparisons have to be eliminated. And I want to just leave you with this. Look out look into the animal kingdom for direction. Look at how the animals are experiencing their life. They're not comparing. They're living in the moment. They are not looking at each, I know it sounds wacky, but they're not looking at each animal and saying, that Leo the lion there, he sure didn't accomplish much in his life. Us humans, it's really about an unlearning all of this stuff that we learn to really bog down and subtract from our happiness. And we're at this point now, especially in this world, especially at 2016, where it's about eliminating and letting go of things that don't serve us and do not work in our favor of having a peaceful and a contented life, internally and externally. I'm going to give you a homework assignment today. I know. And the great thing about my homework assignments is you don't have to do it if you don't want to. If you're not inspired to do it, you don't have to. But here's the homework assignment. You ready? I want you, let's see, five, actually as many as you like, 5 to 10, or you could even do 1. I want you to focus on some kind of problem, okay? Problem that you're having in your life right now. Some kind of issue, some kind of challenge that you're experiencing. And I want you to write it out. Getting hit by a car, problem. Whatever it is, with someone else. Write it out, what it is. And then I want you to think about it, to switch that brain, to shake that brain up a little bit, and come up with another perspective, another way of looking at the same problem, a different way with different eyes to focus on the same problem. Oh, siren. The universe must want this. This is a really good homework assignment. An assignment that you're going to come up with the same. Now, there's nothing's going to change in your life, but I want you to look at the same issue or the same challenge with different eyes. In other words, just tweak it. Instead of looking at it one way, find a different way to look at it that's going to make you feel better. Let me give you a perfect example of what I mean. I can choose to look at getting hit by a car one way. Or I can choose to look at it with eyes of gratitude, to be grateful about, wow, what really happened on that day. I can still walk, I can still talk, I can still share the story. When you look at the same issue with different eyes and you're looking at it and you're switching your perspective, what you find is your energy shifts. So there's not only one way to look at any situation. I don't care what it is. There's a lot of different ways. There's actually hundreds of ways to look at the same situation. Just a shift in your perspective. Eliminating using labels. Eliminate expectations and start off small. And you will be happier. Trust me. Believe it. I'm living proof. I want to thank you so much for listening to today's live stream. And let me just, there goes my announcement page. Hold on a second. Hold on, I got to get the announcement page. I'm just going to sit here and get with my feet. Don't you love live TV? Okay, got it. Here we go. I want to share with you my website. It is RebeccaNorrington.com. That's RebeccaNorrington.com. My Twitter is RL Norrington. Facebook, Reality Spirituality. Go to Facebook Reality Spirituality page and like that page. Thank you. Email info@RebeccaNorrington.com. I will be teaching the importance of happiness class in Arcadia at the Arcadia Recreation and Community Center. The spring session starts April the 7th. It's every Thursday at 6 p.m. You can call for information or just go online at Arcadia Recreation Community Center. The number is 626-574-5113. I have an online radio show every Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's on Blog Talk Radio. That's BLOGTALK, Blog Talk Radio. You can search Reality Spirituality or my name every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. The call-in number, and you can talk to me live, the call-in number is 646-564-9619. I should have that memorized. Again, 646-564-9619. And until next time, until next live streaming, you've been listening to Rebecca Norrington. I want to say thank you so much for listening. And remember, your happiness is your responsibility. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is all about the journey. Thank you. Talk to you next time. Cut.